Hello, everybody. It's Rex Sikes, and this is All Things Rex, and it's another Thursday. And I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad you're watching. I am so delighted. I am so thrilled with the guest today. He is a positive powerhouse who's helped literally thousands of people grow their businesses. Ali Mehdaoui, and I'm sorry, I am sorry, Ali Mehdaoui is the definition of the American dream. Excuse me. He's born and raised in Morocco. He was homeless for 3 years. Ali moved to U.S. 20 years ago to start a new life of opportunities. He married his high school sweetheart, and after working 90 hours a week in a restaurant, his marriage was suffering. He decided he had to do something, and through business and personal development, he created an abundance of success for a global community and through it for his own family as well. Ali's written 2 books. He's built global organizations. He's worked with 55,000 solo, or actually more than 55,000 solopreneurs to grow their businesses. And he's delivered countless talks and coaching sessions. And he's appeared on many of the world's biggest media platforms, including Yahoo Finance, Nasdaq Market Watch Network, King Times, the Los Angeles Tribune, New York Weekly, Roku TV, and he's been named the weekly top 10 thought leaders of 2022. I'm sorry, he's been named in New Weekly one of the top 10 thought leaders of 2022. So he joins me today, and I'm so glad that he's here. And I'm going to bring him on right now. Ali, it's so good to have you here. Sorry, I'm outdoors and I'm coughing up a storm while I'm trying to say and introduce you to the viewers.
Oh, your voice is perfectly beautiful as it's supposed to be. I'm so grateful to have you with me. I'm so grateful to be here, and thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to spend a little bit of a good time with a young, amazing, courageous fella who is willing to do whatever it takes. And as I told you offline, I genuinely feel like you and I have been connected for a very, 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 very long time.
It really, and it was immediate, that connection. I mean, I felt it too, and I was like, this is amazing. So it's so nice to be able to share time with you in front of and with everyone else as well.
Yeah,
but this is the second time we're doing that. We actually did it in the Can You Really Think and Grow Rich tour.
Yep.
That the LA Tribune and Ace Productions put on back in June.
Yeah, that was a blind date, and it was definitely a great one. I enjoyed every bit of those 28 minutes and 39 seconds. It was a whole lot of fun.
Well, it was, and at that time, it was like, wow, I got to get to know this gentleman. I got to get to know him in much better, and so I'm glad that we're doing that.
Yeah, I'm grateful for that too.
Me too. So, Ali, I struggled to read your bio. You've done so many impressive things, but it wasn't always that way. It starts off, with you being homeless and then moving here and then struggling for a long time in the restaurant industry. So can you give us some of the backstory? And as you're about to do that, I want to remind the viewers who are watching live or in replay, the live ones, go ahead and ask questions and leave comments right now. Hit the like buttons and feel free to share the show. And for those in replay, you can still leave comments and like the show. But those watching now can actually ask questions of my guests, and we'll try and get them answered while we're on the air.
Yeah, no, first of all, this is my favorite part. Is many people, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on their mindset, look at the hero story, right? Like the accolades. Well, that's the end result of a whole lot of work that went internally and externally. But I come from a very, 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 very humble beginning, born and raised in Morocco, Northwest Africa. And though the country is so much bigger, better, greater, economy is booming, everything is fantastic. But for yours truly, I saw the struggle. I saw the pain of a third world country, and I'm not trying to make it dramatic. I'm humbled that I'm grateful. I had a home. I had a family, parents that try to do as much as they possibly could to give us the life that we should and could have. But my early childhood period of time was not necessarily filled with the best of memories, but I'm grateful for all of it. And the reason I say that, it made me the man that I am today. It allowed me to learn and become who I am before you today. Yes, we've had a lot of abnormal family situations, a lot of alcohol in the house, a lot of fights, a lot of trauma, a lot of pain from generation onto generation, and that carried onto us. A divorce happened. Unfortunately, mom and dad just couldn't work things out. But that led for mom to come to the United States, which is amazing. Thank God. If that hadn't happened, I wouldn't be here before you today. And it led for us to stay with dad and my stepmom, which I'm grateful for her, because I believe she tried to do the best that she could, thinking, knowing what she could have done, though it might not have looked that way in my eyes at the time, because I was attached to my mom. I was attached to a mother that is no longer next to her young man, her child of at the time 8 years old. But things kind of got a little bit complicated. We didn't get along for the most part, and it led for a lot of those street stories. And I talk about them a lot with many people, and again, though our parents tried as much as they could, we've had a whole lot of heavyweights, especially 8, 9, 10-year-old. The last thing you want is to start thinking to yourself, okay, so it was mom and dad, and then now mom is gone. All right, why? What did I do wrong? And now there's a second mom who I don't know, and I feel like she is trying to embody her core values onto me, and I'm rejecting it because I'm like, I don't know you, lady, and why are you trying to replace my mom? And fights, arguments, issues, and then my they're my full sisters, but the world calls them stepsisters, comes into the picture. Now there's an attachment. Then we come to the United States in 2002, and all of a sudden that little bit of bond that started to eventually develop. Okay, so let me get this straight. Now there is no more dad and mom too. Now there is mom. How you been? I haven't talked to you in 4 years. And then there's this guy named stepdad, which is dad here in America. I'm like, okay, so you now are the new dad. So there was a lot of confusion and a lot of self-inflicted hatred because, with the divorce specifically, there was a lot of tennis ball played with the children, where the children would be in the middle, thrown to hurt the other parent, and we hear that stories a lot, to the point that I got really, really, really miserably desperate, in a deep depression. When I was 19 years old, I attempted to take my life. I took every single pill that I could because my head was only saying, if your own parents were throwing you left and right, if your own parents left you behind, if your own parents abandoned you, if your own father left you when you were 7, almost 8, to remarry and start all over again and left you behind, if your own mom went to the United States of America and left you behind in the third world. So it was a lot of that victim mindset that I was within. But within that, there was beauty. I remember, Morocco, you gotta figure out how to hustle. And my brother and I would have this the ability to go to the beach where there are tents and a lot of tourists. And you would have all these tourists that speak different languages. And I would get onto what we call the rock, like a little rock by the tent, and I'll start inviting these tourists to a tent where there's the business owner that is cooking, and that will be a little bit of what would be a vacation for us, and we're eating food. What I didn't understand and what I didn't know at the time, that was the very first time that I understood marketing. That was the very first time that I've become an expert at sales. That was the very first time that I identified my linguistic abilities, because I was talking in French fluently, and all of these other people, they're like, we want that guy to come in here and promote for me. Then I understood leverage. Like, okay, y'all want me. Who wants to pay for this guy, right? So had I not gone through all of those experiences and, learning the school of hard knocks, I don't think I would appreciate life the way it is today. I don't think I would appreciate success. I don't think I would appreciate wealth. I don't think I would have a sense of humility or remember where you come from and how it all began. So you got to take the good with the good, because ain't no bad in my land. And it just, it's been an amazing, incredible story. And by the way, Mom, Bubba, who my biological mom, my father and mother, and dad and stepmom are here in the United States. The whole family is together. When there's Thanksgiving, Christmas, guess what? Everybody is lined up together. The parents take pictures, their friends, everybody gets along. My sisters are here, and we're just, when I say we are the definition of the American dream, we certainly are. We took every sense of what the world would consider unforgivable sins, and we turned them into milestones and brick by brick to build this huge, incredible, lasting foundation that we have as a family.
Wow, what a beautiful story.
Unfold that, Rex. Unfold that.
It's just so beautiful because, there are, a divorce is what, something like 60% of marriages in this country, I think. And I went through a divorce. My children are young at the time, and my daughter was 6, my son was 2. And one of the toughest things that I had to do, was being a divorced dad and going through that process. So
yeah.
It's not easy for the children. It's not easy for the parents. It's not easy for anyone. And it's something that definitely has touched lots of people in this life or in this country and worldwide. So I really thank you for sharing that, because there is hope, number one, and number two. And then the other thing is that some people, I think, define themselves by lack of hardship.
Sure.
They want it easy, they want it comfortable, they don't want any problems, they don't want anything to have happen. And yet, if you look at almost every celebrity that gets on a TV talk show, a musician or actor or speaker or writer, they all have either massive rejection, or they've lived in their cars, or they've been homeless, or they've gone busted, broke a number of times. Hardship is part of the process. And when somebody can take a look at it and say, if it hadn't been for my path, for the things that happened to me in life, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And my success is based on my roots and the journey that I've took that's brought me to where I am right now. And that's just a very beautiful share and a powerful way to open the program. So I really do appreciate it, Ali.
You bet.
So with that in mind, you went, again, you were homeless, you worked in the restaurant industry, and then what happened? How did you change that? We're now a global leader in helping people with businesses grow their business, overcome difficulty in their own personal and professional lives. What changed, and what brought you to where you are today, beyond where we've been so far in our conversation?
Well, the first thing is I think I've been blessed enough to have just the right, or sometimes the really wrong person in my life to show me what's right or what's wrong. And it started where, so my mother is a smart woman. Miriam, if you're watching, Miriam Rogera, I love you, mama. She had her friend, one of her best friends actually, was a psychiatrist, and she would have her sit with us and hang out with us. Little that I know, she's like, hey, you need to work on this guy. He's got a problem, right? And she would be just this friend that we would talk and whatnot. And she started talking to me many, many times, and, kind of finding out what is the happy place for me, and started advising me on starting to write, like, hey, just start writing stuff. And I started writing what at first was just my mind on journaling, that turned into poetry, that turned into lyrics, that turned into music. And I was like, oh my God, this is so great. Then you add my now wife, back then my high school girlfriend. Yes, we still exist. High school sweethearts are still there. She would believe in me. And I was sabotaging, to be honest with you, our relationship in many times, because I would always be the one that would say, you're just going to leave me like everybody else. And I wouldn't just verbally say it, but I would show it in certain behavior, right? Envy, jealousy, insecurities. Out of fear, I'll distance myself from her. But she would always be there for me. So she definitely built me up. And still till this day, she is my foundation, my rock, my sweetheart, my amazing, still girlfriend forever, my best friend forever. I could probably take on the whole show because I love that girl so much. But then I had certain individuals that were in my life that would challenge me in a positive way. Coach Schwartz in high school, that would say certain things that will ignite the great within me. Then when I turned 19 years old, and when you get to a lowest point possible, to the point that you want to take your life, it gets to a point where when you wake up out of it, you're like, okay, there's a reason why I'm still here. There's gotta be a reason. And very, very early, I started a career in the restaurant business. And then I had the people that would bully with authority. My ex-boss's general manager, he would say all the time, you went to culinary school just to work for me. I only have a GED, but you went all the way to that school just so you can work for me. And it started igniting this. I'm better than this. There's so much more that I can do. I speak multiple languages. Why am I just, sitting in here and waiting and looking at the restaurant and the burgers? I got to do more. So I've had a friend of mine, Douglas Minute, in 2009. Like the guy was calling me over and over and over and over. And I knew it was a network marketing gig. And I was like, I don't want to do Amway. No offense if anybody's in Amway. It was just my dirty mindset at the time. And he would call, and I'm like, hey, yeah, no, call me tomorrow. Call me tomorrow. This is when everybody was still calling. And one day he shows up in front of my house. And I was just going to call you back. But I was not. So then he goes, all I need is 7 minutes. I'm like, you got 10. And if it is anything with recruiting, I'm going to tell you, no, get out. So he walks in and he puts a DVD for you children. That is a round CD-ROM that we used about 15 years ago. And it was a video of Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn. And it was just bits and pieces. And they were all talk about, it's time for you to find your freedom. It's time for you to find the best version of yourself. It's time for you to not only meet us at the top, but from the top. You would hear all those taglines that we think they're classics right now. And boy, if I tell you, I looked at him, I'm like, I don't know what this is, but sign me up. He goes like, well, that was just so you know what am I passionate about and who is behind this project. Now let me show you the model. All right, so it was a network marketing company. And I went in with the get rich quick lottery ticket. I'm going to get in and I'm going to get rich. And I put $1,000, $500 for me, $500 for my wife. I will skip the part that my wife almost kicked me out for not consulting with her and spending $1,000. But I told her, give me 30 days and we're going to make our money back. And what do you guys think happened after 30 days? We did not make our money back. It took us about a year before we made our first check. And that's because I was an amateur. I was, not being a professional. I was treating people like pieces of meat. I'm hungry and I want to eat. Come on, let me recruit you. And the moment I made a decision, like, you know what, maybe I should listen to the pros. And I was told, you got to be a professional. You got to work on your personal attitude. You got to work on your personal hygiene. Ali, you're smoking a pack of cigarettes a day and you're like cursing left and right. And you have no regards to people. And all you do is interrupt everybody that's speaking. How do you want to attract anybody? And that was the reality check for me when I realized, you know what? All right, I know who I am, and I'm going to bring that version out of me. And that was really in 2010, the very first time that I've made a decision. I'm growing up now, and I'm going to keep on growing forever because this kid is never stopping. And that's where really the journey began. And I did okay in network marketing. I did much better in consulting, speaking, writing books, podcasting, and all that stuff. And here we are today, 14, almost 15 years later. And I'm very proud of what we have. And I'm very proud that I see my son watching my videos every single day. While most kids watch YouTube videos with cartoons, he's watching me. And there's nothing more blissful than that. You're muted, so I guess you're getting a mug.
I get a mug. That's right. I get a mug. Wow, that is beautiful. I mean, again, I would, if I had to encapsulate it, and which does in no means does it justice, but you talk about hardship, but then you also talk about this self-awareness. You get involved with something, you go, I'm going to make my money in 30 days. It takes about a year to do it, but you have the presence of mind to do a self-assessment, to become self-aware, and go, how do I need to improve? Not how is the world wrong or how is that supposed to change, but how do I change? And so from hardship and from self-assessment, you said, I did okay in network marketing, but I did better in the speaking and the consulting and the authoring and the podcast. And so how did you go from there into like consulting? Because there are a lot of people out here watching the show right now. And by the way, if you are watching the show live, be sure to ask questions and leave comments and like the show and of course share it out. And also leave comments if you're watching the replay. And when you're watching the replay, share it as well. But how did you transition then from that? You know, because a lot of people have dabbled in network marketing, not made it work. Obviously, some do, and they're very successful. But there are a lot of people out there right now that see all these promises of be a coach for $7, you know. And I gotta be really candid about that. I'm not a big fan of just be a coach because you could be. You know, I think it's kind of like some people are meant to be coaches and other people are meant to not be coaches. And just people come into seminars, they count heads and go, oh, I could make that kind of money if I were doing a seminar. They don't really have the desire to share, to teach, to present, to uplift and edify. They're just doing it because it's a cash thing. So
I'll start with the end of your question. And because I did the same thing that I did with network marketing when it came to consulting and coaching. I spoke in front of 16,000 people. I can easily coach, you know, and I went about it the non-professional way, right? Like, you know, the desperate, like, hey, well, let me just coach you for 30 days and you'll see the results that I'm going to create. And they just kept on the same exact thing. So first things first, if you are a hopeful coach, mentor, my recommendation to you is study the craft. It's not about the ability to speak. It's not about reading one chapter of Think and Grow Rich and all of a sudden you're a guru on the universal laws and the law of vibration. Like, it takes a lot more than that. And the reason I am giving you more of a cautionary advice is because sooner or later you're going to get busted. Sooner or later, we're going to know, oh, you're the one-hit wonder who's singing the same song again and again and again, and you're trying to win a Grammy with it. In all sincerity, the whole space of coaching, mentoring, consulting, it requires for you to have a certain level of excellence in your mindset, a certain level of excellence in your attitude, in your activity, in your behavior, and documenting it and backing it up. Coaching is not about marketing yourself well, rather it is about documenting your results factually. And that's where there's the disconnect. A lot of people can market themselves really, really well. Okay, good. Create a course on marketing. Don't get into, I can coach you how to build a 6-figure business and 7-figure business, because you haven't quite done that just yet. And if you have, document your results. Document, like I brag about my clients. You'll never see me doing any videos talking about like, hey, my name is Ali Mehdaoui and here's what I've done. And here's how much money I made. You know, and I think that's a little bit tacky. You know, you got people now going to an ATM machine and saying, this is my bank account. Look at it. That's cute. But what do I care? That's your bank account. You're trying to entice an ignorant mindset that thinks success equates money. While don't get me wrong, it is part of it. But there are so many people that I know who having their kids around them, like myself, that's my $1 million right there. And then the $1 million is just a bonus. And when you have that mindset, you can definitely succeed because you are in full alignment with many universal laws and sub-laws and vibrations and elements and agreements. There's a whole lot that goes into this thing. It's not about just knowing one thing, right? So that's the very first piece. Now, as per my transition, I did the same exact thing at first. I did it all wrong. I was desperate, miserable. I started spending a lot of money on sponsor ads thinking I got this all figured out. What ended up happening is I made a little bit of money. It proved to me that I'm really good. I can do this. But then it dried out because I've become the one-hit wonder in some people's eyes. And then I made a decision. Okay, I have to up my game up. If I want to be a Tony Robbins, then I have to do what Tony Robbins is doing. Tony Robbins has 30 plus years on me. Now I have to get speed and purchase and buy into and watch and listen to and go to these seminars and start embodying the information that is aligned with my inner being. So we were talking offline earlier. I'll give you a recent example. In 2021, I listened and or read 97 books. Now, some of you are going to be like, man, that's crazy. I'm here to tell you you're crazy because your limited beliefs is telling you it's impossible. I wake up at 3:30 every single morning. I listen to books. I read a little. I write my gratitude book. I walk. I do so many things. Like some people may call them rituals, others may call them habits, but I do certain things that have become my recipe to success. I don't sleep until 9:30, 10 o'clock, sometimes even later than that. If you say, how in the world are you operating? Naps, 20-minute power naps, baby. At least once a day. Sometimes I get two. Now, when I started to operate like many of the people that I admired and the impact that they were creating, I started realizing my cup is so empty and I thirst for all of the wisdom that there is. This year, I made a decision that I'm going to take the top 10 books that there are, in my opinion, that are aligned with who I am in my inner being. And I started reading them not once or listening to them not once, but I decided I'm going to do 6 rounds in a row and highlight and underline and listen to again. And it became my new recipe. See, the problem is so many of us will experience the one hit that goes viral. And instead of us taking the time and studying the recipe of what has gotten us into where we are, we end up saying, Mama, we made it. Let's go buy the car. Let's go buy the house. And then you go backwards. That's not a healthy mentality on anything at all. See, I live on 20% of my income. 20% of my income. I'll never forget. I appreciate her today because she taught me a lesson. The world may refer to her as a hater. I think she's a good person who just is a little bit lost. And she would walk around and tell everybody he doesn't even live in $1 million home. And I thought to myself, wow, you actually think living in $1 million home is the definition of success. For me, living on 20% of my revenue and living in an abundant way, and 80% either gets reinvested or it goes in a lot of philanthropy and a lot of things that we do that I never even talk about. Never, ever, ever. You'll never hear me about the things that I do for organizations or people or what have you. But I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. And I believe because I've managed and figured out how to live on 20% of my income, that I keep on getting blessed again and again and again and again. And, so it was the personal growth. It was the decision to become a professional. As many of you may have heard or you have not, there's the razor edge formula. If you could just do one little bit better than most, you can do better. We were in a company that I'm working with called Economy, and we were doing an income producing activity session, a Zoom for 90 minutes, and the whole company, let's go and we're going to connect, we're going to prospect, and we're going to help people together, the whole company. And I said, all we got to do, we're not dropping until we connect with 30 people. And there was one guy, Matthias, out of Sweden. If you're watching, I love you for what you did today. So I'm like, hey, did you get your 30? Did you get your 30? Did you get your 30? He said, I did 31. I was like, okay, I see what you did. He goes like, I just wanted to make sure that I'm number one. I got more than, and that's the razor edge formula. So every single day, I try to take one step closer, further, more. I try to read one page further, better, more. I try to listen. I just try to get a little itty bitty bit better. And if I do that, I know that I am a little bit closer to my mission and my goal to bless so many other people. So I hope that answers your question.
No, that is powerful, very powerful, and it does. It answers so many, I think, questions that people have. And I want to remind the viewers that they can ask questions of Ali while we're here together live, and certainly leave comments. That is really powerful. Going way back with the idea of coaching and mentoring and actually putting in the time and the energy and the effort and the investment to become good at what you do rather than just trying to cash in on something. I'm a huge fan of the old way of the sensei and the disciple, or the master guru relationship, or the apprenticeship that masons would have, or something like that, where you spent time as an apprentice, then you became a fellow craft, then you finally became a master at what it was that you did. And at that point, you then not every single one of them, but some of them would then be qualified to also share or impart back to apprentices. And we've lost that in this day and age. We go through primary education, which just kind of has you do book learning and some exams, regurgitate the material, and get a certificate or a degree. And not that it isn't valuable, but I'm just saying that it's so many people now are into this fast track kind of approach that to really take your time, and learn and listen and pay attention and develop yourself. Now, what you just said in at the back end of where we were is to be a little bit better, to do a little bit more, to read an extra page, to continue to grow, to this pursuit of excellence. And it's not exhausting. It's not. You're not trying to take massive action every day and wear yourself out and bang your head against walls. It's taking those little steps that produce a lot of change or a lot of result for you. You say, I get up at 3:30 in the morning, I do these things, this is what I do, I take a power nap. These are the kinds of things that people can do.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, and so it's so wonderful that you share that, because if you, and the other thing, if you can live on 20% of your income, it means you're making a significant income. So this in and of itself is something that should not be lost on people.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, for anybody who's wondering on that, it's called humility. When we started blowing our bank account and growing it, we didn't say, okay, let's go and get the Bentley. We said, okay, how can we reinvest this and stay where we are, because we have enough. See, when you know you are enough, you have enough. This is where recession or depression or inflation or anything with Asian at the end doesn't matter. Because from the very beginning, my mindset was not, I want to get more. It was, I'm enough. I just want to bless other people around me. See, when you do good and you are enough, you feel like your plate, your cup is so full. You're like, hey, you want some? Cashews, almonds, anybody? Have some. Because my plate and my cups are so full with goodness, with abundance. I am overflowing with greatness. And it has allowed me to be gracious and abundant with clients, where people were bootstrapping and they were declined by people who, had success in network marketing for a year. And they're like, oh, if you want me to work with you, it'll be $50,000 in a year, and they're like, Ali, man, I'm desperate. I'm like, why are you desperate? Because I don't have 50,000. Why you need to pay 50,000? Well, I don't know. It's too expensive. Well, what is not expensive? I don't know. 300. Cool. Give me 300. Come on, let's go to work. And because of that, our closing ratio was 100% because I never declined anybody, and whether the person wanted to go, to a full experience, to all the way to the Los Angeles Tribune, or, being around Rex Sikes, or they just want to like, hey, I just want enough to figure out how to get 3 customers. We always said, sure, we can help you. And it increased our relationship with people because they felt I was invested in them and in their success instead of just my bank account. I decided no longer to fall in the trap of marketing, because unfortunately it's a blurred line in marketing. Marketing is no longer documenting who you are, what your value is. It is now about hype. No wonder Facebook is charging $7 per engagement, like $7 per actual, real engagement. Like, that is more expensive. People used to complain about flyers in the mailer, and it was like 30 cents a mailer. And you're paying $7 just so you can say, I got a video with 1 million views. That's great. What kind of impact is that video doing in the marketplace? That's what I would want to know.
Wow. Those are so powerful points. And I think, the people who succeed, it appears, the ones who really do well, and by success, I think we share the same definition. It isn't the things that you have; it's who you are, and how much gratitude you have, and the ability to give to other people, whether that's your family, your friends, or even strangers. But givers do seem to get a whole lot quicker, faster, and easier than those who simply want to take.
Sure.
And I've been in this business, if you want to call it a business, self-improvement or personal development business, for over 40 years. And I've seen, people come and go. I've watched how the industry, if you want to call it that, has changed, and the marketing. And when the internet first started, our business, when the Wi-Fi happened, the internet, we went from direct mail costs to almost zero, because now, we could you have a presence on the internet, and then people who wanted the 4-color brochure would say, hey, could I get your 4-color brochure? And then we would mail it. But otherwise, it was all like trying to mail warm leads or cold leads, or whatever. Changed everything, and it was great, But at the same time, suddenly anyone who had read a chapter of a book could say the same thing. They could say, "Hey, I've got this and everything." And what happened with the personal development industry is that the very people, in many ways, who are promoting it and who are leaders in the industry, they still appeal to the old model of, hey, you need to have a better house, a better car, a better jet, a better yacht. You have to be surrounded by, the trophy people and everything else. And they put the emphasis on acquisition as opposed to transformation. And so you see them with their jets and then their high powered, penthouse suites or in front of their mansions or pool and everything else. And it's another big trap for people, because then people go, well, I want that. And I'm sure, I've spent so many days, so many hours in very, very wealthy people's homes across this country and this world, who have all this stuff and who are not happy. And even though I can say that for 40 years, people still go, well, give me the yacht, give me the plane, give me the this, give me the that, as opposed to, how do I transform myself so that these things I could enjoy, but I don't need to have them?
Yeah.
And that's something that we're in a interesting marketing place where
I'll tell you this, Rex. When I speak to somebody, about the sense of abundance, I'll talk to people and they're like, whether you're in the gym or walking around, and like, what are you listening to? I'm like, oh, You Were Born Rich, or Think and Grow Rich, and they're like, oh, life is not about money. I'm like, yeah, but what you're doing right now, you're promoting your ignorance. Same goes for that person who's like, well, just give me the yacht. You're promoting your ignorance about a relationship that you should have with wealth, about understanding wealth is energy. I'll give you, and again, Bob Proctor teaches this very, very well. And I say teaches because my man is always around. He's just in a different vibration right now. And he, in the You Weren't Born Rich seminar, and it was in the early 90s, he had a dollar bill in his hand, and he said, this right here is just a vibration at a very slow frequency. Once upon a time, it used to be a tree, and then a tree became a piece of paper, and then they printed this on it. So it was just a transference of energy at a different frequency. And then he's like, now, this is a dollar, but I'm about to take its value away. Ready? And then he burns it, and he was like, where is it? It just transformed in a different form. So wealth is not just money. Wealth is not just health. Wealth is not just relationships. It is a combination of many different elements, but you decide what that menu is. You decide what that recipe is. So instead of you identifying my success is what that guy or that gal has or are living, and you're ignoring your own self-interest, you're ignoring your own well-being, you're promoting to us all, I don't care about me, I want those external things. And here's what I will tell you, my friend, as long as you are seeking external things or people outside your body and spirit and self for servitude, happiness, abundance in every way, you are on your way out. You are on your way out. If you are in a relationship and you're expecting she or he is supposed to make me happy, that's called conditional love. You got an internal problem. If you are expecting that the government is supposed to make it easier for me to have a better life, that's a big, big problem. That's called dependency. You understand that, right? You wouldn't let a child just, grow up and waiting for you while they're 8 years old to eat out of your hand. You want to teach them to depend on themselves. What do you think you're doing when you are saying, I'm dependent on something or someone else? And that includes the private jet. Here's what I've learned from Abraham's teachings. See, until you are 100% satisfied with who you are and what you have in the current moments, you will not allow your blessings to come onto you, because your mindset is compromising and emphasizing a sense of lack. What you are saying to the world and to the universe and everybody around you, I lack. When you talk about, man, I wish I had that red car, you may say, I'm trying to manifest the red car, but what you really are saying, I am miserable without that red car. So until you're happy and satisfied with who you are and what you have right here, right now, that is the moment that true gratitude comes into fruition. That's where you have the 4 elements of the law of attraction, right? Like the ask, which is honest, genuine, repetitive, internal. It doesn't have to be audible. That's where the response is immediate. Yes. There is a delay, thank God, because could you imagine if everything we thought came into fruition right away? You know how many people would fall flat on their face and get slapped and hit by a bus? Goodness, we are terrible people sometimes. Now, you have to be happy. And then the main piece that I think all of us fall flat on is the law of allowing. You say, I wish, man, I really, really want that beautiful, hot red Ferrari. 8-cylinder, turbo style. You're talking about it, right? So the universe says, hey, fellas, let's hook him up. Let's give it to him. And then they start building because there's the delay. The bigger the ask, the bigger the timing, right? And there's okay, let's get the tires. And then you say, because the universe automatically says yes, right? And then you say, but the insurance is probably going to be really expensive. And guess what? The world and universe says, hey, hold on. We love him so much. And we listen and pay attention, and we always say, your wish is my command. Don't build that car because we don't want him to get stuck with a bad insurance bill. So stop. Then you say, but the oil changes once a year, and it's going to be $850. That's crazy. They say, more of a reason. Do not give him the car. He is not ready. See how you're stopping your own blessings? So I ask of you, stop looking at the external world and thinking that I am manifesting the private jet while intentionally inside you're saying I am desperate and miserable without it. All you're doing is you're putting emphasis on what you don't have. And the law of the universe says what you want, what you think, what you ask for, I shall give you. It is your free will and your own creation. So don't blame anybody. Just be happy with who you are.
Wow, how powerful and how beautiful and how accurate. I mean, that is really, in a nutshell, you just delivered so much power there that I know people are going to have to watch this again and again and again and again because they're going to want to, because you really bringing home the goods there, Ali. But I knew you would. That's why you're here. I mean, I'm so glad to be sharing this time with you. We are going to run long. I want the viewers to know that because Ali and I have talked about this before. We're going to run a little longer than the normal show. So I'm thrilled with that. Ali, what I'm going to do now, though, is take a break. They're going to do a word from our sponsor, the Los Angeles Tribune. Mo Rock, CEO and publisher of the Los Angeles Tribune, provided space for the show to happen, the All Things Rex Worldwide show.
Best in the biz.
And indeed. And Ava Emanuel, who's behind the scenes to help you produce the show today, is just a godsend and an asset and a blessing. So I want to do... take a moment here and pause for the Los Angeles Tribune so that people can see what a wonderful sponsor we have. And we're on the Los
Angeles. Welcome to the Los Angeles Tribune page. Here you will find original news programming, exclusive digital events, and shows that are directly from the community. At the Los Angeles Tribune, we believe in giving a voice to the voiceless. We are proud to be the only national brand to empower everyday people to make a difference. Since 1886, our reputation has been built on truth and responsibility. Thank you for watching and making a difference.
For general inquiries, contact today. Thank you on behalf of the Los Angeles Tribune team.
Welcome back. You're with me and my guest, Ali Mehdaoui. I'm so sorry, sir.
Hey, it's all good. Like I said, my wife gets it wrong. It's Mehdaoui, baby.
Mehdaoui. It's if I can't screw it up on the air, then I don't deserve to be on the air.
All I require is when I see you, give me a big hug, and then it will be all settled.
You got it. But I want to, before we dive back into it, I want to say one thing about Mo Rock and the LA Tribune. There are a lot of news outlets out there that will bring you the news all around the world, and certainly the Los Angeles Tribune does that. But the prime mission and directive of Mo Rock, the CEO, the publisher of the LA Tribune, is to provide this kind of opportunity for people to develop themselves personally, spiritually, professionally, mentally, emotionally, and physically, to bring good news to the people and an inspiring and motivational word, so that it represents, a first, especially in the field of journalism, to have a positive outlook on things as opposed to just, the daily news. So I really appreciate that and thank that. And Ali, thank you so much. And but I would like to ask, this is really powerful, and I don't want to skirt over any of the powerful things that you mentioned, but what I also do want to make sure that we include is the idea that a lot of people are trying to build a business, and they don't understand either marketing, they don't understand sales or income, productivity, income active. I can't even talk today.
Income producing activity.
Thank you so much. You rescued me there. Excuse me. So, how do you, for people who've started a business, or they're starting a business, or even now they have a business, but they've hit that glass ceiling, fairly early on, and they don't know how to scale it. They don't know how to go further with it and actually produce income, and so that they could live off of 20% of their, their income. What are some suggestions or tips or first steps that they need to address so that they can begin to move forward?
Yeah. So first things first, find your passion. You gotta be so in love with it, so mesmerized with it. You gotta be the new version of Edwin C. Barnes. I'm here to be an associate of Thomas A. Edison. I'm not here to do anything else, but I got no money in my pocket, and I'm looking like somebody who should be in the mail room, but I'm going to be, his associate. And guess what he ended up doing? Built by Thomas A. Edison, installed by Edwin C. Barnes, right? He ended up making it happen. So I am so in love with what I do. You have no idea. I love it so much. I do it for free. I will walk around, and my wife, like, she does the here we go again. That's the hint. Like, he's on. I look for every opportunity to bless and share my wisdom, because I don't think it's a coincidence that God has blessed me with the ability to speak 5 international languages. I don't think it's a coincidence that I've been able to do the things that I've done in 5 different continents. I think there's a reason for that. And when you identify that I have a bigger purpose than just me accumulating things, you become passionate. You become so crazy in love with it. So find whatever it is that you are in love with, and then monetize it, because you will never quit on what you are in love with. Otherwise, you never were in love with it in the first place. It was just something you got accustomed to, and that's about it. 2, you got to make sure that if you don't know the ropes of the very fundamentals of your business, get somebody who does. I'll tell you what I did. I went to many people. Think about it like this. Here's an analogy I'm going to give you. Let's say Rex is a chef of a world-renowned restaurant. And I'm going to go to him and say, I love your restaurant. How much can I pay you for your recipe book? And maybe if you can spend the next 90 days, allow me to just shadow you in your own restaurant. And Rex may be that person that I really needed to have in my life. He'd say, okay, listen, kid, it's going to cost this much to have my recipe book. And yes, you can shadow me for the next 90 days. And I'm going to just keep on copying and learning, apply, fail. He's going to yell at me a couple of times, get your act together. And I'm going to eventually figure it out. And then I'm going to open my own, right? Most people, instead of doing that, they will actually rather, go under the table where Rex is cooking and saying, here comes the crumbs. Wait for it. Oh, I'm tasting pepper. I think that was pepper. No, that was a sponge. That wasn't pepper. So that's YouTube. We go to free videos, which there's nothing wrong with having an idea of how to initiate something. There's no problem with a how-to quick fix. But if you think a business plan is a YouTube video after YouTube video, my man, my sister, I gotta tell you, you got a problem. So there are 4 main things that I want to advise you right now to work on, or we call them the 3x4. There's 3 and then 4 things. The very first thing is simply this. You got to identify, who do you help? Who do you help? Is it entrepreneurs? Is it moms? Is it dads? Is it athletes? Is it the elderly? Is it the youth? Is it nonprofits? Who do you help specifically? Number 2, you got to identify, how do you help them? Now, the how is not the result. It's not by making them rich. It's not by building their business. That's the end result. I'm asking you, what is the tool? by providing processes, by providing systems through live training, through group coaching, through individual coaching, through modules. What is the how? What is the physical tool, the hammer and the screwdriver? What is the tool? Identify that. Number 3, you got to identify what is the result that you're going to create for them. I'll give you an example of what that's going to sound like. You ready? Hi, my name is Ali Mehdaoui, and I work with struggling entrepreneurs to leverage social media and the digital space to create brand equity and revenue. Who do I help? Struggling entrepreneurs. How do I help them? Leverage social media and the digital space to create what? Brand equity and revenue. See? When you identify those 3 pieces and they become your 3 commandments, man, you will absolutely hit a home run every single time because you know who to talk to. You know how you're going to help them, and you know the results that you're going to create. Now, you got to back it up with education. Education is something you do for a very long time, and the day you stop is the day you're out. I educate myself every day because technology changes. Information is always available, and I only know less than 5% what it actually is out there for me. That's the first 3. The 4 is operational pieces. What is your vision? See, your vision is not what you know now or your mission statement. Your vision is what was, what is, and what will be. I need to be able to envision it and see it. When did you start this entrepreneurial thing? What was the I am so sick and tired of being sick and tired moment? I need to know that. Your prospect needs to know that. Your contractor needs to know that so they can buy into the past, because that's called relatability. I relate to your past. Then the present. Right now, I'm just working on a few different elements, but I'm still struggling a little bit. But I have a coach, a mentor by the name of Rex, and he's working with me and showing me the ropes with his 4 decades worth of experience. Now it's transparency. I can trust you because you're telling me where you are. Then the future. But I look forward to expand my business in all the Anglo-Saxon speaking countries. That's the future. That's the visionary, the desire. You need to know and have the ability to communicate that. You need to identify the next, out of the next 4, the second one. What is the culture that you're building? Is it dadpreneurs? Is it boss babes? Is it just do it and shut up? What is the culture that you're building? Because everything that we do is around culture. The Los Angeles Tribune has a culture within it that people belong. Culture brings people together. Culture is the definition why we are excited about being with one another. Number 3, what problem do you and only you solve? Boy, everybody feels like they're falling flat on their face on this one. I'm not asking you what is your offer. I'm not asking you what is the solution that you provide in your service or your product. I'm asking you, what problem do you and only you solve? See, here's the answer. What problems have you and only you have solved in your adult life and in your professional life? See, I can go back way back until I was in Morocco and identify all the things that I've gone through. Those were my lessons. See, I can help somebody overcome a trauma of sexual abuse because I was there. I can help somebody overcome a struggle of poverty because I was there. I can help somebody identify how to overcome depression because I was there. How to overcome addiction because I was there. How to overcome bad credit because I was there. How to overcome not trusting the right people. Like all those things that I have lived and failed through have become now the list of the real problems that only I can solve, because it's like a DNA, a specific lineage of issues that I've figured out how to solve. And I don't care if you're Tony Robbins or Eric Worre or Darren Hardy, they have their own identity of lineage of problems that they've gone through and solved. And I have my own. It gives me my own unique approach to my business, and I can truly help people. And I wear it like a badge of honor. For those of us who say, well, you know, I'll give you an example. The concept of Christianity, the word Christian means a follower of Christ. And if you think about what did Christ say to his disciples before he ascended? Now go and teach everything that I have taught you. Then go teach everything that I have taught you. Then baptize in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. But guess what they were teaching? All the struggles that every one of them, including Christ, has gone through in order to create the next generation of believers, in order to create the next generation of that theology side of things, right? But that's a different conversation for another day. My point being, you need to take a pride moment and say, I love me with everything. Now, the last piece, this is a bonus, and I'll give you the answer. Do you operate on a budget? The answer's got to be yes. If you don't, you need a mentor to get you right on a budget. Rex?
Wow. Talk about delivering. And I want to encourage the viewers too. If you have questions for Ali, please go ahead and ask, put them in the chat room or put them right there at the Los Angeles Tribune Facebook page. And we'll be sure to ask Ali while we're together. That is fantastic, because what you've done is you taken it and you broken it down and made it readily understandable and applicable for people, especially when you went through what are the talents that I have or what are the skills that I have, what have I done that I solved that I could help somebody else do. Because I think a lot of people sit and they just go, I don't know what I'm good at, and they try to be good at things that they're not really interested in. But for all the things that they could fix and have fixed, and or for all the stuff that they are passionate about, I mean, you just, you not only knocked it out of the ballpark, but you knocked it out of the ballpark and circled the globe. That was
if I was Michael Jordan right now, I think I just got my 6th ring, right?
Indeed. That is really wonderful. So on top of that, then these income producing activities, what is it? How do people, because I don't think a lot of people understand what an income producing activity is in a business. What do we have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis in order to move forward, to target deadlines or target, amounts of money that we want to work for.
Sure.
I mean, there should be some form of representation that people have so that they know they're working for something and then accomplishing it. Because a lot of people kind of get out there and spin their wheels in all sorts of directions, and they make $1 one day and then they don't make anything for 3 weeks, and then they make $20 in 3 weeks. How do you recommend for people to engage in income producing activities on a daily or weekly basis, so that they can produce the kind of results they'd like to?
So I'll give you the mindset, and then I'll give you the practical side of it. There are 3 mental fortitudes that you must have: clarity, certainty, and consistency. Right. So you got to have clarity of what is in front of me, or rather, let me start with certainty. I got to know, like I know this is it. This is the vehicle that's not going to down me in the middle of the highway. This is the vehicle that's going to get me there. I don't care if it's the prettiest, but I'll be certain this is it, right? This is the engine that I need to have. That's the very first piece. If you don't, you need to, again, reevaluate your passion, your love for what you do, and reach out to mentors. Reach out to somebody who may be doing what you're doing, and you say, can you evaluate this for me? Can you take an inventory? Am I on the right track or am I not, right? The clarity piece is the how. Like, how am I going to develop this? This is where a business plan needs to be handy. This is where, again, mentor, somebody that's going to give you guidance. You want to learn how to trade, you need a professional trader. You want to know how to build a network, you need a professional networker. You want to know how to market, you need a professional marketer. And in many cases, the successful ones would literally like lend you a hand. And I do a thing where I tell everybody, like, I'll meet with you for 20 minutes just for a meet and greet, and I'll give you everything like I'm doing with you right now. And wherever we go, we go. The last piece is consistency. Now, clarity and certainty, you may get mentorship on that. Consistency is 100% on you. I don't care if you tell me I don't love sales. That's on you. You have to work through that and figure it out. And by the way, if you don't love sales, you don't belong in business. And I say that in a respectful manner. You may consider bringing a second half in your business that will be so passionate about sales that they overcome the lack of, right? Like, you need somebody you're yin to yang, because sales is essentially what brings the cash flow. And if there's no cash flow, you have no business. You have a hobby, a very expensive one at that. So you have to figure out, and the reason I think most people don't like sales is personal growth. They don't want to be rejected. They feel shy. They don't want to be intimidated. And it's just personal growth. So if you say or have an ounce of feeling that you don't like sales, you need personal growth, ridiculous, dramatic personal growth. Now, that's the mental side of it, right? Let's go into practicality. I'll tell you what I've been doing since 2014 that I've learned what I do every single day. I'll give you, if you figure out, well, not figure out, if you do, I'm literally about to give you my recipe book right now. This is how we monetize day in, day out. This is how we keep our pipeline ridiculously full. Number one, Organic, by the way. There's no sponsor ads. There's no funnels. What I'm going to share with you right now, organic. I make it a point. Not a single day goes by without reaching out to 30 people. And when I say reaching out, not presenting a business opportunity or an offer or a service. No, just, hey, Rex, I haven't seen you in a while. How the heck you been? That's all there is to it. That's right there is a connection. So I make it a point that before I go to bed or early in the morning, 30 a day. Now you may say, why 30 a day? Let's play with some numbers, shall we? See, if I do Monday through Friday, 30 times 5, that's 150 people. 150 people times 4 weeks, that's 600 people. Let me ask you a question, ladies and gentlemen. When was the last time you had 600 people in conversations with you simply by being a good friend? Hi, haven't seen you in a while. Beautiful family pictures. Awesome profile picture. Hey, I saw pictures on vacations. Where was that? Just happy birthday. Facebook does the work for you on that one. Just connecting with people. See, by default, that human being, or from what we see, it's about, if you do 30, about 5 to 7 will reply to you same day, if not within the same week. Now you have dialogue, conversations. So let's just say, Rex, that out of the 600 people that I connected with, 90% aren't talking to me, have no interest to engaging with me, don't even respond. Now that's 90%. That's ridiculous failure. 10%, you still have 60 people who are excited to talk to you. When was the last time you had 60 people who want to talk to you and want to learn more about what you have going on, right? Now, when you have a dialogue, we suggest to go into what we call discovery mode. That's when you're looking for somebody's pain point. Genuinely, if you use this as a technique or strategy, you will get caught. People feel your energy, even from computers. That's why they talk to you and then they disappear on MIA on you. So you have to genuinely be a good person. And you say things like, Rex, how are you making out with these gas prices and crazy economy that we're in right now? And I wait. Rex may have 2 answers. Be honest with you, I have a Tesla and I work from home. So life is good, my man. Man, that's awesome. There is no pain point. I'm going to nurture the relationship and keep it going. If he says, killing me, I am not liking it. I don't like the diesel car that I have. And to be honest with you, I don't even know what I'm going to do because whatever I make, I put it right back in the gas tank. Pain point. Now I can be a person of value. So that's the discovery. After the discovery, then I will go and prospect because now I know he is a qualified person. I know he's a struggling entrepreneur. I know that I can help him. So I ask, well, what are you doing about it? I mean, do you have any plans? No, I don't. Well, dude, I totally relate. Here's what my wife and I have been doing to eliminate the commute. We figured out how to get paid from our cell phones. Do you think Rex will have an ounce of interest? All he has to say is how. Then I go and offer whatever it is that I'm offering. That is what I do because remember those 60 people a month? Let's just say 90% of them have my dog ate my homework excuses. My wife won't let me. My husband won't let me. I don't have money. I don't have time. All those reasonings, right? Whatever they say. I still have 6 new clients every month, personal enrollments, whether I'm in a network, whether I'm high tickets, whatever it may be. 6 individuals. If I have an affiliate program, I'll teach those 6 people to do the same. 6 times 6 is 36. That's month 2. Let's drop 16 of them. They quit. I say I have 20. 20 times 6, month 3. 120. Let's drop 20 of them who quit. 100 times 6, month 4, 600. Let's say I can keep on going on and on and on and on and on. It works only and only if you consistently do. I hope that gives you all what you needed.
Wow. Yeah, again, you got a 7th ring there if you're Michael Jordan.
All right, I'll take it. I went Brady on you.
But because the beautiful part about this is that you make it so practical, that people, and so simple that people can understand. Because a lot of people, I mean, even myself included, we tend to think that there's got to be something else, or that we're missing things, or that that it's hard, and that's a mindset issue. I mean, that's where we haven't bothered to learn what's really required. And what you're saying here is, look, here it is, kind of like in a nutshell. Here's what you need to think. Here's how you need to think it. Here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to do it. Now go do it. And for a lot of people, what do you say to those people who go, yeah, I know I should do it and I could do it, but they just don't get around to doing it? Knowledge is never power unless it's applied.
So it comes down to you are what you eat, you are what you listen to, you are who you hang with, and where you are right now is not per se a bad place, because I'm not the one to judge you, because you may be extremely, extremely happy, right? I just think that sometimes there are powers over us, and sometimes we go in the mystical, non-physical, like, oh, there are powers that are controlling me, and sometimes it's just you just don't have a mirror in front of you. Like, if you're happy with the way you look in the mirror, and if you're happy with your bank account, man, more power to you. God bless. I love you. I am so happy that you're happy, and I am what I am, and you are what you are, and I am happy with what I am. Therefore, I will be happy for what you are. But if there is an ounce of lack of satisfaction in any area in your life, you have to ask yourself, is it what I'm listening to? Is it what I'm watching? Is it who I have around me? Because it is always influence. Everything we are is influence. Energy is transformation from one person to another. Emotion is energy in motion. So when you have people around you, put it like this, I guarantee you, and I know you've heard this before, if you take the sum of the 5 people around you all the time, you are the average of their income, you are the average of their language, you are the average of their look, you are the average of everything that they do. And man, it was a reality check for me. And I'll tell you this, I remember the day that I decided on quitting smoking cigarettes. I was 27 years old. My wife hated it. I used to hide loose cigarettes all over the house so she never finds the pack and throw it out. And it was my 27th birthday. A buddy of mine, Eric Waltner, sitting next to him, like, Eric, let me get a cigarette. He's like, you crazy? Your wife will murder me. I'm like, just give me a cigarette. We're outside in the backyard. He's like, nope. I grabbed the pack. I light it up. And what do you know? Who's coming around? My wife. Ali, are you serious? So the Leo macho man that I am, babe, this will be the last cigarette I'll ever smoke. Now, mind you, unfortunately, because of where I was and how I grew up, my first cigarette was given to me when I was 11 years old. And I've been having cigarettes since. So here's the good news. I'm 37. 4 days ago, I turned 37. Though I look like 26, I know. I have never touched a cigarette since that day that I told my wife, this is the last cigarette that I'll ever smoke. Now, you know what's the interesting thing? Everybody was in that party was a smoker. You know what they did to me all night? Because I was bringing cigarettes and saying, like, smell it, smell it, smell it. Give him another drink and see. He'll have another one. And they were egging me on over. And you know why? They realized somebody just made a decision to clean up. Somebody just made a decision. So I started calling them out without even saying anything. They're like, now I'm the one who's going to smell and look like this. No offense if you're a smoker. I love you. I'm just telling you my experience and my world. But evaluate who's around you. And the moment you make a change and they retaliate, man, that's a sign you are on your way to greatness.
Wow. And wow. This really begs a question here, because there are a lot of people who are influenced by people around them and they're strangers, and it doesn't matter that much, but they're still influenced by it. But then there are those who are in love with somebody, and that,
Sure.
And I'm not saying, end relationships or things like that. But even the Wright brothers' father was like, "Hey, you guys are idiots. Give this whole flying thing a rest. You're embarrassing the family."
He told them you're going to go to hell. He would tell the whole congregation, because he was a pastor, they're going to hell. They have a signature with the devil. That's like, can you imagine? Anyways,
it's a tough one. Well, no, I mean, just saying that there are people who are involved with other people who are not necessarily good for them, and yet they love them, but the person is not helping them with their dream. Do you have any advice or a way of helping a person to understand?
Sure.
They don't necessarily, I'm not saying that they end the relationship. That's not the point. But how do they navigate that? How might they?
Yeah, I could tell you. So you are talking to a guy who defied and was positively and spiritually and in a vibration harmony rebellious. I am a rebel. I defy everything. And my family are and were always a traditional family, right? Like, remember, I come from a third world country, very, very old school values, predominantly Muslim country. And as soon as I come to the States, I'm like, hey, tattoo me. I want one of those. And they're like, what are you doing? He goes against everything we believe in, right? And I started studying different fates and holy books and just started learning everything that there was, because my curiosity was out of this world. And I had all of my family members positively gang up on me sometimes, right? It felt like, what do you call that when somebody has alcohol issues and they get around to help him?
An intervention.
I had an intervention every other weekend. You're going to do this business stuff again, and you're always talking like you're positive, but you're driving a Chevy Aveo 2006 that was voted the worst car in the year. How could you pretend? And, and what they didn't understand, I was operating at a much higher frequency. I was already living in a different dimension that they could not see physically. Now, I had two options, and at first, I used to fight back. If you don't buy from my company, I don't even want to talk to you. Like that was the I never made money Ali. And then I learned, love them anyways. See, when somebody comes to you and defies you and tries to fight you, they're trying to force a belief onto you. But what they really are trying to do, I want you to react like me. Why are you being nice? Why are you being calm? Why are you being positive? It's like the cigarette experience. Everybody was trying to get me back to smoke again because they realized I'm getting called out. This is a healthy version. I see my potential self, but I don't want that. So they wanted to bring back what they see in themselves within me. So I started loving really, really hard. And boy, it was hard, to get your own family member, to pick on you and make fun of you. And, it was just terrible at times, but I had to learn. Again, it was an experience for me to grow. So first things first, if you feel some type of way when your family member says something that bothers you, one, it is 100% your responsibility to figure out how to overcome that feeling, because you're allowing, like you say, I feel, not you feel for me. No, I feel hurt. I feel mad. I feel sad. You are responsible. But on top of that, I personally needed to really and truly figure out a way to show them through my action that here is what a good person could and should be like, and it's because of this thing. Let me give it to you in different elements, and I'll make it as short as I possibly can. So first things first, let's look at it from a theology standpoint. Started learning other faiths, and I would mention to my mom, like, hey, there's a Bible study, and they're like, you're going where? 666? Why are you like, what is going on with you? This is not where we go. I'm like, no, I just want to study and get educated. Like, well, come with me, you're more than welcome, right? And then I worked on myself, where my mother started seeing that the people that were around me that were studying, they were just genuinely good people, religion or not, Bible or not. They were just genuinely good, awesome, happy people. And the change started to occur where, like, why am I judging my son just because he wants to learn about something else? And it wasn't just for the Bible. I mean, it was for everything and anything that I would put my hand on. And I am a curious, positive rebel. I love every single thing that I learned. The moment you start showing them, here is what I can and should be, not read the book or you're going to go to hell. No. Be the heavenly creation on earth right now. Be the lights. Be the change you wish to see in the world, right? Mahatma Gandhi. I mean, I can go theology or none. There's the same fundamental. The law of cause and effect. Whatever you put onto the world is going to come right back to you. The law of correspondence. We are all parallel. We walk the same walk while we may be walking in different languages in different buildings. The law of polarity. You may think that the world is bad. I think is good. So the law of divine oneness. We are one. We are 100% interconnected. So whether you call it Buddha, God, Allah, Muhammad, Jesus, I believe that God will appear to you in the form that makes you more comfortable. That's all there is to it, because once upon a time, somebody embedded in your head that the ghosts are going to come out and eat you. And you started associating darkness with evil, while I associate the whole world with goodness. I see good. I love good. And the world is my bank account. The more I deposit into it, when it's time for me to withdraw it, I find it. So be careful what you deposit in your bank account.
Well, that's a truly beautiful principle to keep in mind. The world is my bank account. Be careful what you deposit into it. But I agree with you. I always say that the world is what the world is, and then it takes a human to judge it. Before there were humans on the planet, things happened, and there was nobody around to say it was good or bad or right or wrong, or we add that to it. And that is a gift of consciousness that we're able to do that. But I believe that it's not there for us to misuse, but to understand how to use, to be able to make distinctions in a way that's positive. The more distinctions that a person can make, for example, the richer they can be. If you look at, I was talking this morning about art. That in my then wife was a fine art major, and she kind of educated me. I'd walk into a museum and go, yeah, okay, I see all this stuff, great art. And she'd get me up to a painting and but look at the brush strokes and look at the light and look at this and did you know that this is what it took? And what happened is I developed an appreciation for what went into the production of this piece of art, so that when I looked at it from a distance and responded to it as one thing, now I could go, wow, I mean, there was really some thought and effort, and it made me feel even closer to it.
Yes, sir.
So the ability to make distinctions, for a lot of people, they go, I just want fun, but then they don't know how to operationalize the notion of fun. So they say, well, how about this? They go, nah. How about that? They go, nah. How about that? They, nah, that's not fun. Learning how to have the big picture, but also have the nuts and bolts, both sides of that kind of equation, make for a richer life. And a lot of people kind of throw one out for the other. They never seem to be able to embrace it all. The world is incredibly beautiful. I argue that the world is, the universe is increasing and expanding. And while it is, there's also entropy. It's also collapsing and falling apart. But that's all part of the increase that's going on. It's a good thing, and what people miss is well, they don't miss, but they focus on what they are most able to notice. And that's what's given to them through media, through social media, through the opinions of other people and things like that. When you say, who's surrounding you, what are you reading, who are you listening to, what are those kinds of things?
Yep.
They're filling themselves up with these sources instead of going and looking at the world and going, wow, there's all this beauty, there's all these great things, there's all, that's where the distinctions, the ability to find good in all of it really makes an incredible difference. So that you can look at the situation, even though the things are going on in the world, it really is good. It's all part of something that is bigger than us, and where we focus is where the issue tends to be. So
I if I may piggyback on that too, like,
please.
Again, it's a matter of awareness or ignorance.
Yeah,
it's all there is to it. Like I'll tell you one of the things that I had to work through. Many of you see, like, I have a skin condition that's called vitiligo, right? Like, you see some different pigmentation, and I used to really be shy. I would do a whole seminar like this with my hands in my pocket. Because as I'm walking, people are looking at your hand, and I get uncomfortable the whole time. And it hit me one day. I've been married and with my fiance at the time and with my girlfriend since high school. And she thinks I'm the sexiest piece of meat that's ever walked on this earth. And here I am walking around in front of people that I probably will never see ever again. I would never be in the same bed with. And I'm worried and I'm hiding. And it was just me projecting on the world what I think I lack. Therefore, we hear it all the time. There's beauty in the eyes of the beholder. And I believe that, again, I believe heaven is here as much as it is in the non-physical, right? It is 100% the law of correspondence. It all coexists. I believe, and again, these are my beliefs, and they made me happy. They made me very, very, very happy. I believe that each and every single one of us has a sense of space of the amount of education. I'll give you one law that I finally understood: the law of relativity. And that's the sucky law, by the way. That's the one we don't like. And that states that you must have problems in order to be happy. Just think about it like this. You're in math class. The teacher in algebra says, Ali, do you want to solve this problem for us? And then I have to figure out how to solve the problem. And then when I solve it, I circle it and I feel like a genius. What did I do? I created neurons so we operate at a much higher frequency. See, when the universe is throwing little tough things on you, imagine it as an invisible person that is walking by you. And when you mastered a sense of vision in somewhat of a dim light room, the universe takes a stick and like, okay, it's time to teach him a new lesson. And they wave it right across the face and you get hit. Oh man, that really hurt. That's the pain point. That's the problem. That's the bill behind. That's the company that didn't work out or what have you. So you can now be prepared and operate at a higher frequency. So when you're walking in that same room, like, I remember this. And then you get to that same spot and you just lean. You're like, oh man, I got this. And you start operating at a much higher frequency. So when a problem operates, don't look at it as a bad thing. Look at it as, you're preparing me for the highest frequency. You're preparing me for the better, greater things in life. Most of us, and we go back to the law of allowing, we go from, I'm manifesting greatness in the universe, like, oh, let me prepare you for greatness if you really want to prepare for it, because I'm about to throw some rocks, sticks, and everything, so you are able to go at a higher space. And then what? This sucks. Everything doesn't work. My car is not backing up. You're operating on a much lower frequency. Now you lost all of that momentum that you were carrying. So I hope that makes sense.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. There's the notion that things don't happen to us, they happen for us.
Correct.
And I'm going to argue that people happen for us too. Early in our discussion, you said, the wrong people are the people who have gifted me, or words thereabout. And I think that's so true. So often people are, they complain about the people around them being the ones that hold them back or hold them down. And I'm like, that's a total blessing for you. That
Yes,
is
sir.
universe going, hey, I'm delivering you something as a gift through this person. So.
Without a doubt. And we can go on and on and on. We said it the very first day we met, and I genuinely am grateful for this conversation, because I believe there's not enough of us on this world to be bold enough and I would even dare to say courageous enough to get in somebody's face and say, hey, you're better than this. Wake up, because, if there were more of us who would just have this healthy conversation. Look at us. We've been together for an hour and 20 minutes and not a single moment there was a negative thing that came out of our mouths. And even if we've mentioned our past with anything that was somewhat negative into it, we used it as a stepping stone. So the world that we live in today may look like there are a lot of problems in it, but you know what I see? The world is preparing us to all operate at a much higher frequency. Do you understand that in 2008, we had a recession and it became the creation of Twitter, Facebook, Airbnb, Uber? You want me to go on and on and on? They're all about $1 trillion company. It's happening all over again. So instead of you saying inflation, recession, company, whatever, guess what? The world is telling you, I'm throwing you home runs here, buddy. I'm throwing you layups. What are you doing? You missed 2008. You complained, oh, only if I knew about Bitcoin back then. All right, you know about it now. Bitcoin went backwards all the way to 23,000 as of today. It was 67,000 3 months ago. What are you doing? The world is saying, I'll give you a reset. You missed it once, don't miss it again. We all talk about the pandemic in 2019, the pandemic. Do you understand that there was another pandemic in 1919? And you know what difference was then? Because in New York, in 1919, the Spanish influenza lasted less than 30 days. Let me repeat this. Without the technology that we have today, without the hospitals and the advancements we have today, less than 30 days, Spanish influenza was out of New York. And it was still the capital of the world back then. Do you know what the difference was? The mayor of New York then called all the local papers and he said, please do not make extreme hyperboles and headlines about the pandemic. Otherwise, we will have a problem we will never get rid of. You know what happened? No one talked about it. People started focusing on what they wanted versus what they didn't want, and they removed it in 30 days. We're still talking about it today, 2.5 years later. Do you know why? Because that's what you're focusing on. Stop feeding your brain what you don't want, and what you want will appear right before you. You may call it coincidence. I call it your creation.
God, that is beautiful. Wow, that is so beautiful and so powerful. And that, let me bring it, I hate to bring it just back to business, but because it's all about transformation, both personal and professional.
Yes, sir.
We mentioned earlier, too, about the people who didn't like sales. And there are those people who go, Yeah, I don't like the whole thing about taking money or asking for money or doing it. It's a relationship, with the idea of money, whatever their mindset is. But so instead of making offers or the income producing activities, um, they kind of give lip service to, you said you're got a hobby, not a business if you're not making money, but they kind of give a lip service to doing it, but they don't exude. You know what I'm saying? And there's a dichotomy between what they think and who they are and what they represent. And so then they try and sell, but they harbor these I don't like selling.
Yeah. So
They're
I believe even those who figured out how to create some sales have those thought processes, and here's why, right? So there's a difference between a wish and a desire. A wish is just a thing that, like, man, I would love to travel to Bora Bora. A desire is, so I'm deciding I want to go to Bora Bora and I'm going to do whatever it takes around it. When you have the whatever it takes mindset, you start to develop new neurons. It's like a muscle, right? Like, I don't want to go to the gym every single day. I don't want to at all. But guess what? I identified I either have to or I will have to eventually when a doctor says you have to kind of lose some weight and do certain things, right? Many of us have the wishful thinking of the results that we want, right? Like, I want to make $1 million a year. All right, great. You have to reach out to 600 people a month. Okay, you got to give some to take some. The law of compensation is going to compensate you for whatever you want, but you got to give some to take some. Now, if you so much that your heart does not desire anything, you just, like I was in culinary school and I was like, I'm not baking. I don't want to bake. I don't like baking at all, right? I understand that. But what I did is I went to the chef and I said, I will clean, I will wash, I will do whatever you tell me to do for the next 2 months. Just don't make me bake any cake. I'll do cookies. That's about it. And I paid the price somehow to get somebody else to collaborate with me. So you may have to pay the price differently. So if you do not know how to sell, figure out how to learn, or you're going to have to hire somebody to do it for you. There are appointment setters, there are telemarketers, there are high ticket closers. There are so many different elements, but you're going to have to give a big portion of your business. You may say, but I own the business. Yeah, but your commissions, you don't. Because when you give 50% of that sale, you can say you own a business, but they kind of own 50% of your money. So technically you don't. And for that person who does not have a good, healthy relationship with receiving a currency for a service, do you know what our bosses have done or do currently? They are having us deliver a service and we are the byproduct where the money goes to them. They call that leverage. I really would recommend you would consider learning the new skill, because all it is a paradigm that you have to shift. A paradigm is a set of ideals of ideas that develop into habits. And right now, someone in your life embedded the idea. It may be the banker that made you feel like they were a jerk and I would never want to do what they're doing right now. Why would anybody be that guy? But you put an idea in your head that that's what sales is. And I'm here to tell you, sales is simply being compensated for being the best solution-driven person that you can be. Sales is not about being a hardcore closer or a vibrant, dynamic, great-looking guy. I know I am, but that's beside the point. It is all about, I'm going to solve a problem for you, and I'm going to get a little piece of the solution as well. I'm going to get you a mortgage, and all along the way, getting you your dream home, I'm going to get a little compensation along the way because I have the skill, whatever the skill is, and I'm going to bless you with it. And all along the way, I'm going to get, let me put it like this. And this is literally the final point. Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos was being on by a journalist. Oh, you're worth $200 billion. How could a man be worth $200 billion? You are wealthiest than most people in the world combined. And he's going on him. He's like, I appreciate what you're saying. And I think if you Google Jeff Bezos, a picture will come out that says a 1999 where I spray painted Amazon on a wall where I was worth minus $3,000 a day, where I didn't have any money in my pocket. And I was driving a Toyota. And what you got to understand, when Amazon hit $1 trillion in value, and Bezos was worth 200 billion, you got to understand that 800 billion was directed and going to everybody else. So for him to accumulate that success and wealth, he had to give away and bless $800 billion of his success to everybody else. Now, many people will argue that, but I will say with all love and respect, you would be just promoting your ignorance to the laws of the universe, to understanding why he knew I have to give it all away. Business owners understand they're the last ones to get paid. They get paid well, but they do payroll, they pay receivables, they pay all of their vendors, they take care of their clients, their refunds, taxes, and then they get paid.
Wow. Wow. That's beautiful. And I got a text while you were talking, and they said, well, this is great. This is fine. I need to develop these skills and everything. I mean, they're very positive in that regard, but they said, I'm so in debt. I don't know what to do. I don't even know how to begin to get out of it. Well,
beautiful.
Is there any hope? What can I do?
There is. Be careful whomever asked that question. You're talking to a guy who was homeless for 3 years in a third world country. So brace yourself. We're about to embark on a journey for a lifetime. So here's the difference now. The person who just asked that question either has a cell phone or a computer that they're watching this video from. That person has access to Facebook or any social media platform. That person is sitting somewhere right now as we speak that either has an attic, a garage, or a basement with a whole lot of stuff that they have not used. They're hoarding clothes, cabinets, VCRs, fax machines, you name it, you think of it, bicycles. Here's what I would recommend that you do right this second or as soon as we get off this show. Go and take a picture of every single thing that you have not touched in 90 days or 180 days plus. Post those pictures in Facebook Market and put a price tag on it. I would guarantee you with everything that I am, and I know this for a fact, and I'll tell you why in a second, that somebody somewhere will say, is this still available? I'd like to buy it. My wife literally, and I told her it's wrong, you should give it all away. You know those old computers that have like speakers that were this big that you have to connect with the audio and video plug? Okay, my wife posted those in Facebook Market for $40. And somebody said, is this still available? And I said, I'll be damned. There's no way somebody's going to come all the way to my house and bring $40 in cash, knowing that they can very well go to Amazon and get an extremely new for less than $30. And guess what? The guy showed up. I said, babe. She goes like, all right, fine. She gave him 20 back. She's like, hey, just take this back. My husband said it's only worth $20. I was like, it's worth free, but I'm not going to be arguing with you. And they bought it. So you can do that. You have the ability to go a garage sale and take $60. I'm sure you can figure out how to make $60 once a month. And go to a garage sale and buy 60 items for $1. Clean them up, polish them, put them on eBay or Etsy. You can go to a dollar store right now as we speak. Get $60. Some items are more than $1. But anyways, get $60. Get 20 to 30 items. Put them right back on eBay for $3 a piece and watch yourself gain profit. I don't care what you have to do. Get onto online trading. You can start with as little as 10, 20, 30, 40 bucks and just make sure you're reinvested. There are so many good things in this world, so many abundant options and solutions. It's not that you are so much in debt. Your thinking is. And the moment you free your mind and say, I'm going to take these glasses that keep seeing debt, and I'm going to put these glasses that keep seeing opportunity. Woo! Everywhere I look right now is money, 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 money waiting to be cashed in. And that, my friend, is some of my solutions for you.
Oh, again, mic drop is so very, very, very powerful. We've got maybe about 10 or 15 minutes left, and then we'll have to part ways. Although, we
can literally do this for a week straight.
At least a week straight. And maybe we should just do our own little, here's our summit. We're going to just go.
You tell me when and I'll be there.
Right. We'll just do it. I love it. No, I truly, truly love this and love you. And I appreciate you being here and making
time.
Can I share how this happened?
Yeah, please.
I've been wanting to have Ali on as a guest since we met, and I had some scheduling things that changed. And so I said, Ali, can you be a guest? Well, what I didn't realize was I asked him for next week, and then said, okay, he's on the show this week, which is what I needed to change for. And I said, hey, you ready to do the show? And he's like, I thought we were on next week. And I said, oh, he said, don't worry. I'll have to move things around, but I'll move them around and we'll make this happen. And he did. And that's why he's here today. And I can't tell you how grateful I am that you did that.
Oh, you bet.
Because it truly is meaningful. And I feel it, when you cleared your calendar or your schedule to be here to share with the viewers. It's truly wonderful.
You bet.
So in the remaining, you dropped so much value. By the way, check out I Am Media. That is your website, correct? Is that
IAM.media, yeah. And whatever, in any social media platform. And please, I am begging you, if we connect, it isn't for me to sell you anything. Just reach out, because if I have the time, I give you my word. I'll give you everything you need to know. I will give you so much that you will fall in love with Ali, because I think there's plenty of us to eat. And there's plenty of plates. So my plate is full. Get another plate and start digging in, buddy. We got this. And I'm here to help. I'm here to serve. If we do business at any point, shape, form, or capacity, great. If we don't, great. There's plenty of us to be taken care of. And I think, all I'm asking you is pay it forward to somebody else. That's all.
Wow. Well, I hope that the right people take you up on that, because that is truly both generous and a legitimate offer. That is really beautiful. So thank you. In the 10 or 12, 13, I guess 15 minutes that we've got remaining, about 13 minutes, I just want to give you the floor for any final thoughts or anything that you would like to share that's near and dear to your heart that you'd like to express that maybe you haven't yet. But you've given so much away. It's already. So,
yeah, I got 97 books still in me. So I I'll tell you this. We started this conversation with I am the definition of the dream, and I've lived every sense of, I believe, what could be considered, trauma and pain and what people look at as failure. And if I've learned anything, and I'm grateful for my life in every single sense, is one, everything is love. Whether from a vibrational standpoint, it's the most powerful sense of energy. And from a theology standpoint, even, any messenger of a God, or, Jesus Christ said, God is love. He equated the whole creator to love. So do everything with love. And if there's an ounce that lacks, you got to look within and work on personal growth. I work on personal growth, not because it sounds good for speaking engagements, not because it makes me feel cool to talk about the different laws of the universe, but because I know I have the ability to move the ether like this. Now, it may be a delay in the motion depending on how big it is and depending on how many co-creators I allow into that project, right? Like right now, each and every one of us are co-creators. We exist in one space, in one element, and whatever you're thinking about is impacting what I'm thinking about. Whatever Rex is thinking about is impacting what I'm thinking about. And we are all using these different motions and frequencies to create something, right? Vibration, the perpetual transmutation of energy. Like we're transforming something from something else. We're embedding ideas that are going to become activities. That's how thoughts become things. But you need to educate yourself. It is not enough to just desire. It is not enough to just wish. It is not enough to meditate. You have to have action plans. Again, the law of action. Therefore, the door shall be open to you, but you must walk into it. And you may walk into the wrong door first because the law of relativity. You got to get hit and you're like, oh, I got in the wrong door. Walk out and go try another one. But you have to take action, and you have to continually, keyword, continually educate yourself. It is not enough to read a book once forever. Education is to induce, nurture, and grow from within. Education is not a graduation system. It's not, okay, I got my bachelor degree, I'm done. No, buddy, that education that you got is practical education. You need specialized education, and specialized education only comes from the school of hard knocks, only comes from true passion, only comes from desire, only comes from intention, only comes from inspiration, not motivation. Motivation expires. Inspiration is an inside job. I clean the floor, you see me, you get inspired, and you clean your side of the floor. Inspiration is something that we create from within. You have the ability to create anything that you want. And God knows I am the definition of it. I am the example of it. Do you understand that you're talking to a guy who said me no English 20 years ago? Not a single word of English. You ain't hearing an accent, all right? He's even a little urban for you, huh? See, you're talking to a guy who had every sense of adversity pushed onto him. He's had every sense of family member that I wanted to retire out of their jobs and put them in traditional businesses. When things got tough, they bailed, and I got stuck by the bills. I got stuck with thousands and tens of thousands of dollars of bills. You're talking to a guy who believes wholeheartedly that the world that we're in is okay, is healthy, is good. And that is not a popular statement because of your paradigm. Because what you see is what you eat, is what you embed, what you put in your body. You believe the stuff that is pushed onto you. My hope, my mission is to remind you how great you are, is to remind you how connected to higher power you are, whether from a theology standpoint or whether from a vibration standpoint. You got to understand, you 100% are in alignment. You are a co-creator of divine. Every faith claimed it. We were created in the image of God. Now, that does not mean I'm going to create myself and say that I am a God. That's the wrong thinking. Remember, humble yourself, relax, sit down. That means that I've been given faculties that are extension of that higher power. And when I have perfect alignment, when I understand the different laws of the universe and I operate within the code, the alignment happens where now I and the creator are in creation mode. Whatever we put our mind into, as long as it has humility, as long as it has genuine approach to it, as long as it's for serving others, for the well-being, I get blessed as well. Remember when I said this life is a bank account? I am just a trust fund manager. And the creator said, I'm going to bless you with a fat bank account. And as long as you're blessing everybody, you can get a little piece for you too. Most people, unfortunately, say, I want it for me only and me only. But guess what? Everybody else you're attracting as well. They say, I want a piece of that. And everybody's taking out of everybody. Everybody's scamming. Everybody's robbing. But that's your world, not mine. See, I have a bubble that I create around me, an invisible bubble. And within that bubble, there's pure love, greatness, happiness, joy, abundance. And don't get me wrong, every now and then there's a knucklehead that will walk in and do something bad. And I'm like, not allowed. And I'll move him right out. I remind myself that that person came into my life to remind me that I have to operate at a higher frequency because there are more people that I can help. And why, to so many of you, this may sound like woo-woo, cray-cray. You're right. That's your world, and you chose to live in it. And many others are going to say, man, this has been an inspirational, life-changing experience. You're right. Welcome to the co-creation world. You and I are now living in it. And there are three emotions that are going to happen. The very first one, many of you are going to accept this information and apply it. And you're going to experience change with consistency, with certainty and clarity. Many others are going to ignore this information. This was just another show like any sports show that or the news network that you've been watching. Hey, God bless. When you're ready, you will be ready. I am not here to judge. And there are many others who are going to reject it. Now, that is a deliberate choice that you're going to have to live by. No matter what choice you are, life is good. And we're going to keep on creating greatness. I love you. I appreciate you. And you might really not know it, but I mean it when I say I love you. And I can't wait to meet you in person and give you the biggest hug ever. Appreciate you, Rex.
Wow, Ali. I wish, I wish we had to open up the mics and give a shout out. But you know how the viewers can do that? They can do it by commenting and sharing and spreading the word and feeding it forward to other people by making the show get out and have a further reach. So that's what you can do if you appreciate what Ali has brought to us today, and I sure do. And we're going to have to close in just a moment or two, but wow, Thank you so much. And I do think we really should do like an Ali and Rex summit, and figure out how many days of the week we can take.
You let me know when, and I'll be there.
We'll figure that out. That's the deal. And so I just appreciate it. I love you. I love everything that you shared, and I'm so happy that you did that. Please do go ahead and check out im.media, and connect with Ali, and I know you'll be glad that you did. I want to thank you, my friend. We'll say goodbye to you here officially. Hang out for a moment or two, and I'll be right back. I've got to close out the show. But thank you so much for all that you brought today, and for who you are, how you show up, and the love that you have for life and for each and every person on the world. I mean, you're truly a blessing. Thank you.
You're too kind.
I just speak truth, Ali. I just speak the truth.
Then I deserve it all.
You deserve it all. Absolutely. So I'll see you in just a moment, but thank you so much for being here. Wow. Again, Ali Mehdaoui. Oh, geez. I cannot believe I did that again. Ali Mehdaoui. Okay. Got it. Wow. Excuse me. Thank you so much. And thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. And next week I have another guest, and want you to show up. It's every Thursday, 3 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here in the Los Angeles Tribune. We're also on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, obviously Facebook, Roku TV, and elsewhere, Periscope and other places. So, wherever you find us, please do share us, hit the like button, subscribe, and comment. That's one of the ways that you can help my guests reach more people, and I appreciate you and love you for doing that. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my book. We're at the close of the show. It's Life on Your Terms, Create the Life That You Want. It was written by me for that very purpose, so that you can begin to live the life you want, create the life that you deserve to have by managing your mindset, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, and your words, so that you can skyrocket the results, again, that you deserve. When you purchase the book from Amazon, I give you a bonus training called the Mastery Loop, which is a powerful online training. I've been teaching it for over 40 years, and it's about how we master our mindset, our thoughts, our feelings, our words, our actions, and any skill or talent that you want to master. It's normally $497. I'm giving it to you as a bonus. You just take your receipt code from Amazon, you plug it in at rexsikes.com/book, and that training will be made available to you at absolutely no charge. It's yours, and it's there to accompany the book, because I wanted to give those people who took the time and energy and effort to actually get the book and then read the book, something powerful for them as a gift. So that's my gift to you. Remember, if you think of something as a problem, it is a problem. But if you think of something as a blessing, it is a blessing. This is why I say be filled with gratitude and celebrate everything. I'll see you next time.